All right, so a little technical difficulty in the middle of that warm-up, so we're gonna get right back into it. So after you do the plank holds, I'm gonna go ahead and get to 90-90 shin rolls. I'm gonna do 5 on each side. So I'm gonna go ahead and sit down and find enough space to where I can have kind of my legs sprawled out. I'm gonna have my knees bent on each side and I'm gonna stack them. So both of my legs are gonna be facing the same way. And I'm gonna try to stay centered within my hips. So I'm gonna take my hands, place them next to my hips, just on each side. And my idea is what I wanna do is I wanna think about rolling my shins just like windshield wipers. So I'm gonna come here and try to stay nice and straight on. I'm gonna roll nice and easy. I'm gonna follow it through. And then I'm gonna squeeze my glutes. Squeeze, hold, and I'm gonna rotate all the way through. Trying to stay nice and upright as much as I can. So this is kind of working on that internal and external rotation of our hips here. And it's gonna go ahead and loosen up our hip capsule. Squeeze, I'm gonna rotate through, squeeze. And if you need a little bit more, you can also get your legs a little bit wider. It's gonna be a little bit tougher, but it'll also get you more internal, external rotation and loosening up those hip capsules in that joint. So we're rotating. And if you need a little bit extra, rotating, we're gonna come down to the ground. This is gonna stretch the hip out. It's gonna hit that TFL. And it's also gonna hit that piriformis, which is on the side of your hip here. So we're gonna bring our head to the ground, come up, rotate through, head to the ground, hold for about 3 to 5 seconds, come back up, rotate through, and so on. So let's go ahead and I want you guys to do 5 on each side. You can also do the bow with it if you'd like. It will help open up your hips a little bit more. So since we went through a lot more like engaging and loosening, so let's go ahead and get some more dynamic movements. So this one, if you don't have a resistance band at home, it's not a big deal. But if you do, you can put a resistance band around your leg. I'm going to do this without a resistance band. So you get your feet a little bit wider, and they're called monster walks. So really all you're doing is keeping your legs as stiff as possible. We're just walking forward, just like Frankenstein. And it might seem really freaking goofy, but it actually helps you kind of warm up those glutes. You have to really push through your feet to get it, and you can go backwards too. If you want, you can put your arms up like Frankenstein. You don't have to, but it's kind of fun too. So we're just kind of getting to a wide stance. I'm gonna go ahead and show you straight on. So kind of how I'm walking. See how I'm kind of opening it up, stopping, keeping my feet nice and straight on, driving through that, and stepping forward. This is a good way to warm up those hips a little bit more as well. And if you want, you can bring it out, bring it in, bring it out, step in, step out. Kind of you can do like a zigzag as well. We're just trying to get all ranges of motion of our legs as well. So I would do two down and backs. If you have enough space, I would do 10 on each side, 10 walks on each side as well. So after that, we're going to do this little fun ditty. It's for getting our fascial tissue prepped. So this is a great way. It's supposed to mimic the gait of your run. So this is a lot of the times if your fascia and you're running, your gait isn't all the way on, or it's not functioning properly when you run it. If it bothers you, this would be a good warm up to do to get the tissue prep to mimic that gait. Okay, so it's a little goofy, but it's a lot of fun. A lot of people laugh quite a bit about it. So when we come up, we're going to do opposite hand, opposite foot, and we're going to skip. You can start off with just walking, but I'm going to do the full movement. So we come up, coming back, 1, 2, and we skip for that, 3, you reach, 4, come forward, so you can kind of see what I'm doing, 1, 2, 3, just like that. And if you just want to walk with it, that's totally fine too. And you don't have to come up very high if you feel like your flexibility is not there. We're just mimicking that extension. We're getting everything moving. We're pushing off that back foot and coming into it. Squeezing the glutes, keeping that core nice and tight. And we just want to get some movement. So after we get our, I want you to do 20 on each side. And then after you get into the B-skips, we're going to do just some generalized jumping jacks. We're going to do some regular, and then we're going to do a crossover. So I'm going to do 10 regular. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I cross my arms every other way to kind of get my chest warmed up as well. So that's a great dynamic movement to do, I want you guys to do 30 total. You can alternate between the two if you'd like. If you like one better than the other, you can do that one as well. And our last movement that we're going to be doing is the shoulder circuit. So this is kind of a whole thing that I'm going to get into. So here we go. So when you start, make sure I got enough space here. We're going to start off with one arm, okay? So I'm going to think about max effort reaching above my head with my fingertips, max, max, max. And then once my body starts moving, my head's going to follow through. And then I'm going to flick my wrist on the way down. Flick. Just like that. Flick. So on the side, I'm watching. Once my body starts moving, I follow it through. Flick. So I'm going to do 10 of these on each side. Really flicking that wrist. Okay? Once I get done with my 10, now I'm going to go forward with it. I'm going to do the same similar thing. I'm going to reach, max effort reach, almost away. Bring that rotator cuff off the body and split my wrist. 2, flick the wrist. 3, flick the wrist. 4, flick the wrist. 5, and you can use your hand to kind of keep it as a support to make sure you're not overextending or hyperextending in this position. 7, 8, so on. So, and then we go to the opposite side. We get the same movement over the top, follow it through, flick the wrist. Over the top, max effort, fingertips, reach, 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 and flick. Reach, 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 and flick. And then I would also do it the other way. I'm going to reach, out, and flick. Reach, 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 and flick. So once we get 10 of those movements on each side, then we're going to come forward. Do forward and back. So the whole idea of this one, I'm just flicking and I'm not going above my shoulders. So I'm thinking about flicking my wrist back, squeezing my shoulder blades, getting that max range of motion, and coming back up. 1. If you have to hear some popping, it's going to happen too, because you're just putting your shoulders in that range of the max range of motion, and that's what we're trying to get with these ones. 3, with the wrist. 4, 5, and then you would go up all the way to 10. And then after that one, I'm going to go ahead and give myself some big hugs. So I'm going to wrap myself, slap the sides, get some blood flow. 1, 2, 2, and I'm thinking about reaching all the way back. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and I want to work up 10 on each angle. So I do consider 1 at each angle as 1 rep. So I go all the way technically to 20 with each side. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and get some more thoracic spine rotation because that's so important a lot of the times in our workout. So I'm going to get my feet nice and even. I'm going to go ahead and get some hip movement in this with this as well. So I'm going to come up, start off like this. My hands are going to be kind of back and rotated, and my hips are going to move with it. 1, 2, 3, and you're kind of flicking. So I'm kind of rotating and flicking. I'll do it from the side. So you start off here, rotate it back, 1 with my hips. 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want you to do 10 total on each side. So remember, we're flicking, rotating slightly, coming through aggressively. Bring your hips with it. So we want to get that thoracic spine. We also want to get the hip movement in there too. Our next movement that we're going to be doing is similar to the thoracic spine movement, but we're going to go ahead and engage that end range of motion behind your back. So this one's a little bit weird to show, so I'm going to go ahead and do it nice and slow. So I'm going to start off with my hand reaching max effort up towards my bra strap or the middle of your back. And my other one's going to be in the front. So I'm going to come out and touch. Come out and touch. Just like this. Come out, touch. And then I'm going to rotate my foot with it. So when the hand comes forward, my foot comes forward, in towards the knee. 2, you don't have to do the rotations, but this just gets a little bit more hip movement. So once you get comfortable with this, you can just do it nice and fast, but we're just rotating. So we want to do 10 on each side, and what this one is doing is, you're trying to get that max range of motion with touching the middle of your back. So that's going to go ahead and help you get some more shoulder motion. It's going to help with posture. It's also going to help with any tissues that are locked up in your back. Now the last shoulder movement that we're going to be doing is we're going to go ahead and do a rotational reach. So my hand's underneath now. I'm reaching off that shoulder, and I'm just going to bring it across the body, just like so. 1, 2, 3, and the other arm just kind of hangs there. So I'm doing a max reach, and then I'm just giving myself a pat. 4, 5, 6, just like so. So we do 10 on each side of that one too. And after that, you should feel pretty fully warmed up. If you feel like you need any other areas warmed up, I would suggest after the arms, you can do some shoulder or some wrist, or geez, oh Pete, some elbow rolls. 10 in, 10 out. And then you can do wrist rolls as well. If you feel like you have any arthritis or anything, you can do so. What the pianists do, they clasp their hands as hard as they can to get blood, and they throw their fingers out and hold, and they shake it. So this is a great way to kind of get your hands warmed up during the day or before a workout. Hold, fingers out, blood, release, and shake. So that is our active warm-up to have you. It's a 2-part video since the first one kind of got cut out. But hopefully it goes good for you guys and have a lot of fun with it.